were only foothills of a conical mountain whose jagged cinder-gray peak loomed above all the clutter of the buildings. A volcano, Valdar found himself wondering, that once blasted its lava out and left the crater that is now a harbor? That's the kind of thing Nyrthim would have wondered about. He shot away from the thought, as he always did whenever such strange speculations entered his mind, which they doubtless did at the behest of the old sorcerer's ghost. The harbor was alive with ships, lean predatory war galleys, and the broad-beamed merchantmen that were their natural prey, tied up at the docks as well as under way. A small but well-kept-up boat approached in a way that somehow exuded arrogance. In its stern stood a middle-aged man, under his official dress of white kilt and formal over-both-shoulders mantle, suggested gauntness, settling into softness. He bore a staff of office. "What is your business here?" he demanded, when his craft had drawn into shouting range. He used the Nemosi that was still the common language of commerce in the lands once ruled by the old empire. "The harbor master," grunted the captain. He was from the land the Imperials still officially called Schaerisa, where Khavorn and Valdar had negotiated passage the rest of the way through the inner sea, and he had the strongly built, hook-nosed look that went with the land's Esquihar blood. Unfortunately, a legacy of suspicion also went with it, here in the new empire. "This is the Wave Leaper, out of Schaerisa," he called out, leaning over the rail, "bringing distinguished visitors." "We are uninterested in any louse-infested rebel or barbarian dignitaries you may have brought from Schaerisa," the harbor master sneered, using the first-person plural in the way of all officials in all times and places. "And the investiture was weeks ago, as I should have thought everyone knew by now. Proceed to the commercial docks, along with the rest of the Outlanders and the lower orders." Khavorn flushed. This was just the thing to bring him out of his paralyzing awe. He pushed the captain aside and glared across the water, axe held so as to be just visible over the gunwale. His Nemosi had been learned in childhood. His family, like many of Lochrain's ruling class, blended the bloodlines of the old empire's priesthood with those of the conquering Dovnian. But now he spoke in the Aeolisi dialect that was the new empire's ruling language. He and Valdar had acquired it without undue difficulty, for it and the Dovnian tongue had common roots going back not so very many generations. But Khavorn's Dovnian accent was now even thicker than usual. Thicker, Valdar suspected, than it needed to be. "This young gentleman," he declared, waving grandly at Valdar, "is heir to King Arquar of Dhulon, and I myself am Khavorn nach Morag, sister son of Riodheg, High King of Lochrain. I've also the honor of being half-brother to the Lady Andonra, wife of Vale Saru, chief general of your emperor, who, ye may be sure, will be hearing of any insolence we encounter from his servants." The harbor master managed to grovel without capsizing his boat. "My humblest and most abject apologies, Lord. I naturally never dreamed that this, vessel carried passengers of such eminence. Please permit me to escort you to the imperial moorings." He gestured peremptorily at his steersman, who bawled at the oarsman, thus confirming the immemorial proverb of the ancient sage Schaerisa, "Shit flows downhill." Khavorn turned to Valdar and smoothed his mustache complacently. "One just has to know how to deal with those sorts of people, that's all," he explained in their more usual Dovnaean tongue. "No doubt. But was that young gentleman business really necessary? You make me sound like I'm still the callow little twit who arrived in Lochrain 10 years ago, begging help from the High King for his old ally Arquar." "And so you are," boomed Khavorn. He flung an arm around the younger man's shoulders. "You may have fooled some people into thinking you're a proper warrior of the Dovnaean, foreigner though you are, but I, for my manifold offenses against Dayu, was your mentor, so I know better." Valdar grinned unabashed. "Yes, how well I remember the style of your instruction. It's no exaggeration to say you made me what I am today." Khavorn winced. "Now that was low." He was, Valdar reflected,